Welcome back to Cothram Creations, and today I'm going to show you how I do my wood grain tumblers. I do mine a little bit differently. I use, believe it or not, just plain flat white acrylic paint, and I use actual wood stain. Let me get some gloves because we're not using a brush on this. We're using our hands. Okay, got some gloves. It's a little warmer in here now, so the paint will dry in a reasonable amount of time. You'll probably have to put 2 to 3 coats on here. I always start out with a base coat on mine after I prep it. I've said in my other videos how I prep. I just wash it real good, run some high grade or high percentage alcohol on it, let that evaporate, and then just do a base coat. This one happens to be white. I don't always do white. This time it's just because I'm putting the white paint on there. So shake this up real good, and I just squirt some in my hands, or you can squirt it on there directly, and I just start rubbing this in. You're basically painting with your hands, and what you'll see is you're creating these lines on here, and because it's creating the lines, when it comes down to putting the stain on, it basically just soaks into it, and that's what causes the wood grain to kind of really come out. So this is basically the first layer. I'm probably going to do a couple more. I want it a little bit thick, and then when we come back, I don't know if I'll show you every layer. You probably don't even want to see that, but I'll show you the finished product when it's done, and then we'll start the wood grain part. Okay, we're back. So the paint's all dry. I only managed to put, I only had to put 2 layers on there, which it doesn't matter. I don't mind it, because even if the little bit of the cup underneath, you can see it. It actually makes the stain, gives it a different depth. So I got 2 different ones. I've got an American Walnut from Rustolium, and I got a Minwax, which is a red Mahogany. I don't know if I'll use both, but the red Mahogany is super dark, so I usually do that just as a touch-up. So we're going to start out with, I'm going to shake the can, because stain does settle over time. Okay, I just have a typical cheap little bristle brush from Walmart. I paid a whole, I think, 79 cents for it. So, and then you basically do like you almost would alcohol inks. I don't have alcohol inks, but I want some, but it's one of those things it'll happen when it happens. Just dab and then brush. And you keep brushing. Now, if you're expecting this to do, a particular thing, exactly like alcohol inks, no, this is not going to do that. As you see, it makes a huge mess, so whatever surface you're working on, be prepared to clean it, or have some sort of protection down, to protect it, because stain gets everywhere, and it does exactly that. It stains. But as you can see, it does a really nice. This is a little thick right here, but you can kind of transfer it. It does really good. Part of it is the lines on the cup. The other part is the bristle. I've noticed this type of brush actually works the best. If you get a finer type brush, it doesn't seem to do as good. And you just keep brushing. A lot of it's almost like a dry brush. And the reason this works pretty good, and you don't have to do the layers of spray paint like the other ones I've seen, is because the stain actually soaks into the paint, and that's what holds it in there. Now you will have to put like a clear spray paint over this, because it won't. I have had it work before where the epoxy doesn't have a problem. It doesn't make it separate or anything. But the last time I did one, I actually did have a problem. So I would suggest, just for the sake of, I'm going to take my watch off. I should have done this before. Just for the sake of being on the safe side, just put a clear coat of spray paint on there, and that way you know. Now, me, just for the bottom, I don't really make it look too fancy because I always cover my bottoms, so. You know the old saying, always cover your, well, I won't finish that. That's a naughty word. Okay. We're going to let this dry really good once we get it how we like it. I probably will go back in with a darker one just to kind of add some depth. You just keep working it until you're happy with it. I fiddle with it for quite a while usually, and I'll come back in a little while later and I'll mess with it a little bit more, and I probably shouldn't. Sometimes I should probably just leave it alone. But that looks good so far. I'm not mad at that. Not bad. You get a little bit of dark, a little bit of the light. So we're going to go with that for now. And whenever I decide to do the darker one, I'll come back. Okay, we're back for the second coat. This one is all dry, it looks like, so I'm just going to use with this little bit right here I have in this lid. So I'm just going to dab that. I put gloves on this time because it was kind of a pain to get this off my hand. So since I don't want to completely cover it, I'm just kind of going to do strokes just to kind of add a little bit of depth. So just kind of you know, just make it how you like it. I always try to do a knot hole on there, but I don't think I really know how to do that. Okay, well, okay, well, okay, I think I'm going to stick with just that. I'll have to touch up that little spot right there. Okay, so I think I'm going to stick on that. I'm going to let this dry, and then I probably won't show the spray painting of the clear coat on there, but once we get to the epoxy part, then I'll show you that when we're done. Okay, I didn't show the epoxy part or putting on the decals. I decided to go ahead and just do that off camera because everybody knows how to do that now. There's no point in really showing an extra one and making this video even longer, but I'm really happy with the semi-finished product. This one isn't quite ready as far as like since I have this one on sale for Etsy. If anybody wants to personalize it, I'm leaving the final layer on there until it sells, and so I can put the name on there if they want that. Of course, I used my scan and cut to cut out my decals, and I've always been pretty happy with that. And so that's how I do my wood grain tumblers. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, but I hope I covered everything. Thank you for joining me. Bye.